Welcome everybody to Social Science class, History part. The Revolt of 1857, Day 2. Today we will discuss about the political causes. Lord Dalhousie introduced doctrine of lapse. According to the doctrine of lapse, the rulers or any native prince could not appoint their adopted sons to the throne. They must have their own son, but not a son who is being adopted. And this was opposed by Nana Sahib, the adopted son of Peshwa Bajirao II, because he was not recognized as the legal heir. He was even deprived of the pension that his father had been getting. Then Rani LAKSHMI Bai was also prevented from putting her adopted son on the throne. The house of the Mughals was humbled when it was announced that the successors of Bahadur Shah Jafar would not be allowed to use their imperial titles, and furthermore, they would not be allowed to use the historic Red Fort as their palace. Because at that time, almost all the kings or the Peshwas, they had their adopted son. And that's why the English, they wanted this policy to be applied. That is doctrine of lapse. Then only the whole power will be in their hands. Then next, military causes. The native soldiers, they were also very much badly treated by the East India Company. They were also deprived of foreign service allowance, or which was known as bhata, which was much resented. With the coming of the General Service Enlistment Act, soldiers were enlisted in the company and they had to serve wherever they were ordered to go. As the British frontiers were extending, it meant that they had to serve in alien lands, and most of the travel involved sea voyages, which was against their customary practice. And so the soldiers were disappointed and they rose in the revolt. Then one more cause which led to the revolt of 1857 was immediate cause. Under immediate cause, it was related with the Enfield rifles. Since that Enfield rifles were introduced by the British, and those rifles had cartridges which were removed to be greased with animal fat. They had to use the fats of animals, especially cows and pigs' fat. The cover of these cartridges had to be beaten off by teeth before being loaded, and it was believed that the fats of animals which hurt the religious sentiment of the Indians, and it was used for these purposes. And this was offensive for both the Hindus and Muslim sepoys, and they refused to touch these cartridges. Next, events of the revolt. On 9 May 1857, sepoys in Meerut refused to use these Enfield rifles because already we have come to know that these Enfield rifles were filled with this animal's fat, right? So all these sepoys refused to use these Enfield rifles, and they were imprisoned for this defense. Then the next day, the soldiers overtook the prison and released their imprisoned colleagues, their friends. But some English officers lost their lives. On the morning of 11 May 1857, a band of sepoys from Meerut set the tall house on fire and they marched to Red Fort. When they reached Delhi, they persuaded Bahadur Shah Zafar to join them. He was proclaimed the Shahenshah-e Hindustan. The revolt at Meerut was the precursor to a widespread mutiny by sepoys, and the rebellion engulfed almost all of North India, as well as central and western India too, and almost half the company's sepoys, that was strength of 2,32,224, withdrew from the company. Then the 19th Native Infantry at Behrampur, they were also disbanded when they refused to use these newly introduced Enfield rifles. A sepoy of 34th Native Infantry, that is Mangal Pandey, had fired at the sergeant major of the regiment. He afforded he was executed and the regiment had been disbanded. So we'll stop here for today. Thank you.